Why? Your gut feeling about too nice people is never wrong. There's someone in your life right now who's destroying you with kindness. And the worst part, you probably defend them. You probably make excuses for them because they've never yelled, never threatened, never done anything wrong by society's standards. But here's what nobody tells you. The most dangerous predators don't bare their teeth. They smile, they compliment, they slowly wrap around your throat while whispering how much they care. Think about this for a second. When someone comes at you with obvious hostility, your defenses go up immediately. Your fight or flight kicks in. You know you're in danger. But when someone approaches with honey-dripped words, with manufactured concern, with that perfectly calibrated tone of selfless devotion, you let your guard down. You invite them in. And that's exactly when they strike. Not with violence, with something far more insidious. They reprogram your reality. Look at how this plays out in history. Take Cardinal Richelieu, the power behind France's throne in the 1600s. He didn't rule through fear or brutality. He ruled through charm, through calculated favors, through making people feel special and protected. He became indispensable. And once you're emotionally dependent on someone, once they've woven themselves into your identity, you can't see the cage they built around you. You defend the cage. You call it safety. The Law 27 of power tells you exactly this. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. This isn't just about leaders and followers. This is happening in your office, in your family, in your relationship. Every time someone uses excessive niceness to make you feel special, to make you feel chosen, to make you feel guilty for even questioning them, you're being played, and the game is rigged from the start. Here's the mechanism that makes this so destructive. Fake kindness attacks your ability to trust your own perception. When you finally notice something's wrong, when that voice in your head says, "This doesn't feel right," another voice immediately attacks it. "But they've been so good to me. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm just paranoid." That second voice? That's not you. That's the manipulator's voice that's now living rent-free in your skull. Devastating action you need to take immediately. For the next 3 days, notice who in your life makes you feel anxious when you're about to set a boundary. Pay attention to who uses their past kindness as leverage, who brings up everything they've done for you the moment you say no. Let it down. Because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And that awareness is your first weapon. The question burning right now is, how many opportunities have you lost because someone nice convinced you that you weren't ready? How many relationships have you stayed in because leaving would make you the bad guy? And here's the real question. Are you ready to see just how deep this manipulation goes? Type awake in the comments if you've identified someone who's been using kindness as a weapon against you. Tell me, what was the moment you realized their smile didn't match their actions? Hit that like button if this content is already making you question some relationships, and subscribe because what's coming next is going to shake your entire worldview. How fake harmony keeps you broke, exhausted, and powerless. You know what the real genius of gentle manipulation is? It convinces you that your own needs are selfish, that speaking up is aggressive, that protecting yourself is cruel. Once you believe that, the manipulator doesn't even need to control you anymore. You control yourself, you silence yourself, you sacrifice yourself, and you call it being a good person. Let's talk about Jim Jones for a second. Yeah, that Jim Jones. The one who led 900 people to mass suicide in Jonestown. You think he started with, "Hey, let's all drink poison"? Hell no, he started with community, with love, with acceptance. He created this bubble where questioning him meant betraying the family, where leaving meant you were weak, selfish, ungrateful. He didn't use chains. He used guilt. He used manufactured love. And people stayed willingly, even when every instinct screamed run. Now bring that to your reality. That business partner who talks about loyalty but takes 70% of the profit. That friend who never has money, but somehow you're always paying. And when you mention it, suddenly you're making it weird or being materialistic. That family member who uses blood is thicker than water to justify treating you like their personal ATM or emotional dumping ground. Same playbook, different scale, all devastatingly effective. Law 43 is crystal clear. Work on the hearts and minds of others. But here's what they don't tell you in the books. When someone else is working on your heart and mind, you're the target. And if you can't spot the difference between genuine connection and strategic manipulation, you're going to spend your life as someone else's tool. Your energy, your money, your time, all flowing to someone who learned to push your emotional buttons. Brutal action that will change everything. This week, track where your resources go. Time, money, emotional energy. Make a list of who receives what. Then ask yourself honestly, is this reciprocal or am I being drained? If someone consistently takes more than they give, but you can't confront them because they're so nice or they've been through so much, congratulations, you found your vampire. Now you decide, keep feeding them or cut the cord. Here's the truth that hurts. Being needed feels good. Being someone's hero feels good. And manipulators know this. They'll make you feel like their survival depends on you. Like you're special. Like you're the only one who understands them. And while you're basking in that feeling, they're eating you alive. One small request at a time. One guilt trip at a time. One, I thought we were closer than that at a time. Type drained in the comments. If you just realized you're someone's emotional ATM, share this. What's the thing you keep doing for someone that's slowly killing you? Smash that like if this is opening your eyes to patterns you've been ignoring. And subscribe because we're about to get even darker. What makes gentle poison more lethal than any blade? Your brain has a serious design flaw when it comes to manipulation, and understanding this flaw is the difference between freedom and lifelong slavery. Here's how it works. When someone attacks you openly, your amygdala fires up. Threat detected. Fight or flight activated. You process it. You respond. You move on. But when the attack comes wrapped in care, when the knife comes with a hug, your brain short circuits. It can't categorize the threat, so it doesn't activate your defenses, and you just bleed slowly for years. Check out the story of Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos. She didn't build $1 billion scam through aggression. She built it through inspiration, through that soft voice, through making powerful men feel like heroes who were changing the world. She mastered the art of seeming vulnerable while being absolutely calculating. Investors, board members, employees, they all ignored red flags because she seemed so earnest, so dedicated, so innocent. The gentleness was the disguise, and by the time people realized, billions were gone. This is what gentle manipulation does at its core. It makes you complicit in your own destruction. You're not just a victim, you're an active participant, because the manipulator has convinced you that protecting them is protecting yourself, that their success is your success, that abandoning them is abandoning your own values. So you defend them, you make excuses, you explain away the inconsistencies, and when everything crashes, you blame yourself for not seeing it sooner, for not being smarter, for being too trusting. The devastating reality is this: open enemies make you stronger. They teach you to fight. They teach you to recognize danger. But fake friends, gentle manipulators, they don't make you stronger. They make you doubt yourself. They make you question your instincts. They make you weak. Because every time you ignore that gut feeling to maintain the friendship, you're teaching yourself that your intuition is worthless. You're training yourself to be a better victim. Surgical action you must take now. Go through your phone. Look at your text conversations from the last month. Notice who you apologize to most. Notice who makes you explain yourself constantly. Notice who you feel relieved when they don't text you. Those people, they're the problem. Not because they're evil, but because your nervous system is telling you something your mind refuses to accept. Listen to your body. It knows before your brain does. And here's the part nobody wants to face. Some manipulation is so effective because part of you wants to be manipulated. You want to believe someone powerful cares about you. You want to believe you're special. You want to believe the fantasy. So you ignore evidence. You dismiss warnings. You silence that voice inside that knows better. Until one day, you wake up and realize you've lost years to someone who saw you as a resource, not a person. Type awake in the comments if you're finally seeing the truth about someone. Tell us, how long did it take you to admit you were being used? Drop a like if this video is forcing you to confront uncomfortable realities, and subscribe because the final part gives you the exact blueprint to never fall for this again. How to become immune to wolves who smile. Alright, here's the reality. Recognizing manipulation is worthless if you don't build immunity, because awareness without action is just another form of self-torture. You know you're being played, but you stay anyway. So let's talk about building psychological armor so thick that no amount of fake sweetness, no amount of manufactured vulnerability, no amount of guilt tripping can penetrate it. And fair warning, this will make you seem cold to some people. Good. Those people are the problem. First principle that will save your life. Become comfortable with being misunderstood. Manipulators weaponize your need to be seen as good. They know you'll sacrifice your own well-being to avoid being called selfish, mean, or ungrateful. So flip the script. Decide that protecting your peace is more important than protecting your reputation in the eyes of people who don't actually care about you. Say no, don't explain, don't justify, just know, watch what happens. Real people respect it. Manipulators lose their minds. Second principle that changes everything. Implement the 48-hour rule. When someone makes a request that triggers your guilt or your need to prove you're a good person, tell them you'll think about it. Then wait 48 hours before responding. This does two things. It breaks the emotional manipulation in real time, and it shows you who respects your boundaries. If they can't wait 48 hours without pressure, without guilt, without making it about them, you have your answer. They never cared about you. They cared about your compliance. Third principle that's brutal but necessary. Accept that some bridges need to burn. That childhood friend who constantly borrows money and forgets to pay back. Cut them off. That family member who shows up only when they need something. Distance. That colleague who's always so stressed, but somehow their stress becomes your responsibility. Boundaries. You're not being cruel. You're being sane. Because the alternative is spending your entire life as an emotional support system for people who would never do the same for you. Final action that will transform your life. Create what I call a reciprocity audit. For the next 30 days, every time you do something for someone, make a mental note. Every time someone does something for you, note that too. End of the month, look at the data. You'll be shocked. You'll see who's been taking and who's been giving. And then you make cuts. Ruthlessly. No guilt. No second chances. Because your time on this planet is finite, and spending it on people who drain you is the ultimate self-betrayal. Here's the final truth that most people never accept. Genuine kindness doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't keep score. It doesn't demand gratitude. It doesn't make you feel guilty for having boundaries. Real care is quiet, consistent, and respectful. So when someone's kindness feels performative, when it feels calculated, when it comes with strings attached, trust that feeling. Your instincts are millions of years old. They've kept your ancestors alive. They'll keep you alive too, if you listen. Type immune in the comments if you're ready to cut the dead weight from your life. Share with us, what's the hardest relationship you had to end, and how did it change you? Hit like if this video gave you permission to prioritize yourself. Subscribe for content that arms you with uncomfortable truths. And share this with someone who's being slowly destroyed by someone else. Important notice, this content is strictly for educational purposes and aims to develop awareness about power dynamics and psychological manipulation in interpersonal relationships. We do not encourage the use of manipulation, unethical behavior, or any form of harm to others. The strategies presented should be used exclusively for personal protection, emotional intelligence development, and recognition of manipulative patterns. All historical references are used in educational context. If you are facing situations of abuse or manipulation, seek qualified professional help.